blood cold as ice and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones. She gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got two little horns and they give me a little She got two little horns and they give me a little She's the fire in the sin, and I burn breathing her in. Now it's love suicide, and I'll sell my soul for the high. Truth be told, I don't mind, 'cause her hell's my paradise. She can crush every hole, got her heels stomping down my soul. She got blood cold as ice and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones. She gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got two little horns and they give me a little bit.
Hello everyone, my name is Eric. I'm a gamer that really loves guns, firearms collecting, and shooting sports, and in today's video I want to continue a series where we take a look at popular video games and the firearms they choose to feature in those games, why they're interesting, what history they might have, and in this case, what they got wrong. Now, before I go any farther guys, I do want to say that I stream live on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I would love to see some of you all there. We're live from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. US Mountain Time. That's GMT -6 for those of you who need it. And yeah, I would love to see some of you. You can come by, ask me questions about guns, about life, about gaming, or whatever, and we can hang out and have a good time. Anyways, thanks, and let's get back to the video. Like I said, today I want to focus on what Modern Warfare got wrong about this firearm, mainly because this firearm might just be the most talked about gun on the internet, and looking at it through the lens of this game might be the only way I can ever hope to add anything new to the discussion about it. Our topic today is Modern Warfare 2019's M4A1, or as it's known in real life, the AR-15, M16, M4. Honestly, this platform, this rifle has so many different designations, it would be impossible to get them all in one video. And this is where we get into what might be the largest mistake made by Call of Duty. The M4A1, as they portray it, well, it isn't an M4A1 at all. And in fact, not only is it not an M4A1, but there is literally no way to actually build an M4A1 with the in-game Gunsmith system. It's just not in the game at all. So let me back up and explain what I mean. Remember that when I said that the AR-15 family had countless different designations and names? An AR-15 pattern rifle is arguably the most user-configurable semi-automatic rifle on the planet. It is designed as public domain, and countless different manufacturers have all gone out with their own take on the rifle. You have thousands of different grips, stocks, handguards, muzzle devices, barrels, calibers even, all that can fit and work within this platform of rifle. What that means is that AR-15 from one person might be an entirely different rifle to another. Both of these are AR-15s, but as you can tell, they're very different in size, intended use, and honestly even design. However, the same cannot be said for military designations of the AR-15 rifle. These are very specific standardized configurations, and with the exception of the Special Forces community, you won't see many soldiers running around with customized rifles. There are many reasons for this, but the end result is that in truth, there is only one rifle, one configuration that fits the name M4A1, and that is not what we see in game. The M4A1 is a modified version of the US Army's original M4 carbine, which in itself is a design derivative of the M16A2. It comes with a 14-inch heavy profile barrel that allows it to have higher rates of sustained fire without a point of impact shift. This is a direct upgrade versus the lighter barrel seen on the previous generation M4, and that upgrade is mirrored in its fire control groups. The M4A1 is capable of full auto fire, whereas the M4 was limited to 3-round bursts. And aside from that, there isn't really much more that's different between the A1 and their standard M4. They both have the same overall length, they both sport standard Colt waffle stocks and knight armaments rails, and in general they look like the plain Jane rifle that you know and have seen from movies to TV and video games. It should be clear now that Modern Warfare's M4A1 is not this, but what is it actually then? Does it actually have a name, or is it just some random AR-15 configuration that we can't truly nail down? Well, it's not a perfect showing, but it does in fact have a name, and the real shame is that this rifle is actually really interesting, so much so that calling it an M4A1 is actually doing a disservice to the pedigree of this weapon. Modern Warfare's M4A1 is actually a Mark 18 Mod 1. The reason why I'm making a big deal out of this is because the Mark 18 Mod 1 is one of the most interesting and badass versions of the AR-15 platform, and there really is no reason for Call of Duty to parade it around as a plain M4A1. The Mark 18 took its first steps in life with the requirement for SOTMod to create a CQBR, or Close Quarters Battle Receiver. This was an upper receiver that had to have between 10 and 12 inches of barrel length and fit on a standard issue M4A1 lower receiver. This was wanted because it was determined that even the already compact M4A1 was still too large and unwieldy for use in tight urban environments. And this Close Quarters Battle Receiver is actually what my rifle is loosely based on. I had an SBR last year, but it's not quite clone correct. It's almost there, but honestly, no part of the rifle is actually true clone correct. This isn't a Colt receiver set. This isn't a Colt barrel. This isn't an LMT sight, but it's close enough for us to use as an analog, and I still think it's a pretty damn cool rifle. Now, those of you who saw in the footage and in the intro, this gun isn't actually full auto, even though it does have that auto position on the gun. It has an echo trigger that I use to simulate full auto. It's not full auto. This isn't a machine gun. This is a regular AR-15 SBR. So when they designed the CQBR, one of the first things they did was take a 14-inch Colt barrel and cut it down to 10.5 inches. Now, this was to fit within the program specifications, however it introduced a whole lot of reliability issues that they weren't really expecting, and this was all due to a phenomena called dwell time. To understand dwell time, we first need to briefly go over how the AR-15 works. Essentially, the AR-15 is a direct impingement rifle that taps off the expanding gases that propel the bullet and sends them back into the receiver to cycle the bolt. Essentially, gas gets bled off at the gas port and goes all the way down a steel tube back into the receiver and down into the bolt carrier, where there is a chamber that allows the gas to expand, which pushes the bolt carrier back and cycles the gun. However, when you cut the barrel length, you're shortening the amount of time that gas will be sent back, because gas will only go down the gas tube while it is a path of least resistance. The moment the bullet leaves the barrel, that gas tube is no longer a path of least resistance, and all of the remaining gas and carbon and unburnt powder will just be blown out the end of the barrel and will not go into the action or cycle the gun. And that was what they didn't account for. And that is what's known as dwell time, the time between the bullet passing the gas port right here and leaving the barrel right here. As you can see on a 2.5-inch barrel, that's a very short amount of time, especially with how fast this bullet is moving. So, to get around this issue, the engineers at Lewis Machine & Tool actually decided to enlarge the gas port, the hole actually in the barrel that leads to the tube, and send more gas back in that same shorter amount of time. The result of this was the guns recoiled and cycled much more violently, because there was a small amount of time but way more gas being sent back into the action. This had a few negative effects. More recoil, obviously, but also higher parts wear. These guns need to replace parts much more frequently than a standard M4 or especially an M16, which have much softer and smoother recoil impulses. However, it wasn't all bad. In fact, not only did they solve the reliability issue, but these guns are actually much more reliable than your standard M4 or M16s, because that violent force that's being pushed back on the bolt carrier gives it a lot of energy to dislodge stuck cases or break past debris in the action. We're making these guns actually more reliable than their original counterparts. When these receivers went to rifles, the rifles became known as M4A1 CQBRs, as this is configured to be. They were still marked M4A1 carbine on the lower receiver, and all that was different was a swapped out upper. However, eventually the Mark 18 Mod 0 came about, and that is the same gun, only it was all built by Lewis Machine Tool and provided to SOCOM as a complete rifle rather than just an upper assembly being sent off. The Mod O had a few other changes where they swapped out the gas rings in here and also changed the buffer weight of the recoil system, all in an attempt to smooth out the recoiling of the rifle. Then the Mark 18 Mod 1 came to fruition. It kept all the internal upgrades of the Mod 0 with the enlarged gas port, the heavier recoil buffer, and the modified gas rings, but it lost the front sight block and replaced it instead with a low profile block that could fit under the rail, and swapped out the kind of aging Knight's Armament handguard system for a Daniel Defense RIS-2 free float rail system. This is an excellent, if a bit heavy, quad rail that is free floating, which means it doesn't contact the barrel at all. What that means is that when firing, the barrel is allowed to vibrate as it normally would and have better harmonics. And also, any force you apply to the handguard while gripping the gun won't be applied to the barrel at all. This keeps the gun much more accurate than a non-free float variant like this one right here. Finally, they replaced the really shitty Colt waffle stock with a SOPMod B5. That's not what I have on here, this is a Veltor, but you know, same difference. And with that, you have a very excellent fighting rifle. Now, what's cool is Modern Warfare actually did include the sort of custom / rare-ish two-tone backup sights that are FDE and black that you find on the Mark 18. And that's a cool detail that you would to see in game. They actually got that little detail on the sights correct. And now when you put the two side by side, you really should be able to see how the Mark 18 and the Modern Warfare M4 look very similar. It's not perfect, there are still some oddities, especially in the barrel length department, that's a little bit weird, but it can clearly be said that the gun drew much more information from the Mark 18 than from the M4. And I really don't know why they chose to call it the M4, aside from name recognition, because the Mark 18 is a badass service rifle of Special Forces pedigree. Like, it's only ever been used by the best and top of the top, and so why you wouldn't have flexed and say it's a Mark 18, I don't know, I don't know. But it is a really cool rifle with a really cool history that you guys should definitely look into more when you want to. But anyways, I think it's time for us to move off of the name system and on to my second issue. And unlike the name, this topic is about a certain attachment that you can use in-game. And frankly, why it makes no sense at all. In Modern Warfare, many guns allow you to select a no-stock option. This removes the rear buttstock from the rifle. And honestly, there's absolutely no good reason to do that. Now, some rifles do allow for a folding stock in real life, or you can get them with no stock, but that's usually to comply with laws rather than for any sort of tactical reason whatsoever. On some guns like the AK or the SCAR, this will actually shorten the rifle, but on the AR-15 that isn't the case, which makes this even more useless. How the gun works is it has to go recoil and to go back somewhere, and the bolt carrier and all the recoil mechanism is stored in this receiver extension called the buffer tube. In here is the main recoil spring and the heavyweight buffer in here, and the bolt will actually physically travel back into that extension and go forward. This gun cannot function without this piece, and this piece isn't any shorter than if it had the stock on and the stock was fully collapsed. So to remove the stock, it makes no sense. There's no reason to do it. And what's even worse is the game encourages this, because it gives you one of the best buffs to the rifle in game, which is faster ADS time, which is a giant lord of horseshit. Literally, how you should aim a rifle is by getting a good cheek weld every time and just having the sights come up to your eyes. That's how you aim it. To then go and change to doing this and being off the gun or canting it this way, because you're now trying to dodge this receiver extension going into your face hole. Yeah, it makes no sense, it's stupid, and I did it. I actually ran the rifle that way. In fact, I not only ran it with no stock, I ran it with a long, heavy barrel because that's a very common and very infuriating build that I see in Modern Warfare. Because it gives you good long range, damage, and accuracy, and also a fast time to aim, and it is the stupidest looking thing I have ever seen. I hate that we're doing this, Kyle. I hate that we're doing this. Oh my god. Oh shit, we're already out. This sucks! Yeah, it didn't go well. And it is so mind-bogglingly wrong because a stock assists in quick aiming and doesn't hurt it. A stock helps you with recoil. A gun with a stock is infinitely better for fighting with than one without. In every situation, literally every one. Especially on this gun where you can do this, and that's the same length as the extension. Maybe a little bit longer because of the recoil pad here, but that's right there. That's as compact as the gun gets, guys. It doesn't get smaller than that. And so for them to put that on the M4A1, but then not have things like an M-lock rail, and not have things like, I don't know, just anything that's not no stock. Maybe different charging handles or other cool things you can put on there. It's just a weird thing to include on a rifle that doesn't help it. In fact, the only time you actually even saw those no stock AR-15s was in compliance with some pretty bullshit legislation. And so I guess we're going to war with California compliant firearms now? Anyways, guys, this issue is actually a topic I want to do another video on. When we did run and test the guns, we had no real way of scoring it because of the sheer amount of shooting we were doing that day and how much we were more focused on just getting the footage right and doing things like that. But I think we'll be revisiting the topic of merging these two guns and trying to run some drills with them and actually score them and see how much worse I do, and probably my friend as well does, when we're running a configuration with no stock and a heavy ass barrel and a big ass scope on it. Anyways, guys, that's all I have. So if you guys came by and watched, thank you all so much. If you got this part of the video, you're awesome. This is actually our second video ever on YouTube. So if you could go by and give us a subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Let us know how we can make better videos. And always remember, guys, clean up your rats at the range. Don't leave a mess. Peace.
You're a monster.
Randos do suck, yeah. Rando.
Fuck randos.
Only if they consent, Andrew. Otherwise, it's how you go to jail.
I'll take my chances.
There's only more randos in jail.
Hey!
I'm going to hell.
I can see the truth. No, you don't have to lie.